Hey everyone, and welcome to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the page, be sure to give us a like and a sub to miss any of the content we have coming out. And today we're going to be diving into Dceased, Dead Planet. Now I've covered a few things Dceased so far. Dead Planet is going to be picking us up 5 years after the events of Dceased. So 5 years after Superman was thrown into the sun, after Damian Wayne picked up the mantle for Bruce Wayne, after he and the other Bat family pretty much was wiped out. So without further ado, let's dive into this issue. So we pick up with Jon Constantine sitting in the Oblivion Bar, and he's really just dealing with survivor's guilt of the worst kind. And he's drinking at the bar alone, and this is when Zatanna comes through a portal and just lets Jon know like he shouldn't be drinking here alone. And to him, he's not alone. You know, he's sitting with the ghosts of the people he lost, the ones that sacrificed their lives for something bigger or greater, or whatever the case may be, but they sacrificed their lives. And Jon was never a sacrificial kind. He was never one to give up his life or sacrifice himself much for the benefit of others. And when we talk about people that sacrifice something, they want to talk about Cyborg here, because Cyborg, you know, even though he brought the anti-life equation there, he sacrificed himself. Like, he had the opportunity to go with them, and he decided to stay on Earth because he didn't want to risk infecting any more planets or life forms or anything of that nature. And Wonder Woman had beheaded him, but because of Apocalyptian and Earth technology, it didn't have the effect that usually comes with having your head ripped off, which is death. Instead, Cyborg sat there and watched everything unfold for 5 years, until one day he found something that was planted in him by Bruce Wayne, and it's essentially a tracking beacon that Batman had planted in Cyborg. And so Cyborg turns it on and sends out a message, a broadcast asking for somebody to come. And this is where we pick up with our heroes of Earth 1 fighting on Earth 2. And they're taking on an alien invasion. And we really get to see Damian Wayne more grown up, taking things on like he is Batman himself. And you have Jon playing the Superman role, not necessarily playing it, but he's becoming it. He's becoming that leader that he needs to be. The shoes that he's trying to fill are Clark Kent's, after all. And so the whole point of this war that they have going on was because New Metropolis, which is home to the 13 million survivors of Earth 1, that planet is within the same solar system of the species that's attacking them, and they see 13 million new inhabitants in their solar system as a potential threat to them. And so Batman and Lois Lane have pretty much infiltrated their base to be able to talk to the head royalty in charge. As this is transpiring, Alfred lets Batman know like his suitcase is beeping. And so we pick up later at the New Hall of Justice, and Damian goes on to tell them that this is a beacon that was planted in Cyborg by Bruce Wayne. And while they sit here discussing the possibilities of what comes next and what to do next, they all put it up to a vote, and the vote is to go back to Earth 1 to save a friend. And it was a unanimous decision, so every one of them voted for this. They all know the risk, they know the potential fallout if they fail or if they mess up. And the one we see the most from is Oliver. Now this is an older Oliver Queen, and he really doesn't want to do this. Like, they've lost so many people already. You know, Hal, Barry, Diana, Clark, Babs, Arthur, John Jones, Bruce. Like, the list goes on and on and on. But he also didn't want to seem like somebody who can't take this on in front of the younger heroes that are coming up. And so to make Oliver feel a little bit better, Dinah offers him the God Killer sword. And so we pick up with our heroes at the edge of the Green Lantern quarantine around Earth. And we have Green Lantern Kilowog sitting essentially on watch on Earth and the sun. And the reason they're watching the sun is because Clark Kent is still in there. Like, he's still sitting there eating that sun up. And Earth has actually gotten colder because of it. This has potentially horrible ramifications if we have a Superman that's charging up but is undead. That could be like the worst possible imaginable situation for the DC universe in general. And as they're having this discussion, they get a proximity alert, and they throw up their Green Lantern shields as fast as possible, but it's not enough to hold back what breaks through. And it's Crypto the dog. And it's really awesome to see this. Like, see Crypto, like he was able to survive this for 5 years, and as soon as Jon's back within range of him, he's immediately back at his side. So our team descends down onto Earth, and they find what remains of Cyborg, and they wrap the lasso of truth around him so he'll be able to speak with whatever ability he can. And as they're talking to him, hordes are moving at them, and so they're like, you know, it's time to get out of here, we gotta go. And as they're all getting ready to load onto the ship, they get another proximity alert, and it blows right through the ship. And it causes such a commotion of dust and debris that nobody's able to see anything. And just like that, Wonder Woman shows up and just tears into Oliver Queen. And just like that, as soon as they're back on the planet, the bloodlust is right back into it. And Dinah screams with her canary scream, and she grabs the God Killer sword and lunges. Hot Girl throws a mace directly into Wonder Woman's face. And this whole time, Vic's trying to tell them something. Like, he's trying to get words out, but he's not able to. Like, he can't process it fully or properly. But Jon knows what he's saying. And as Dinah goes to thrust the sword into the back of Wonder Woman, Jon's screaming at Dinah to stop, but it's too late. And as the sword comes down and breaks through the neck of Wonder Woman, it also goes through Superman himself. And with what seems to be his dying breath, he says, Dinah, there's a cure. And that will be where this issue ends. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I am absolutely loving everything Deceased. I cannot get enough of it, and this just goes to show why. It's really Tom Taylor bringing it to us in the most brutal and realistic fashion of how it would actually play out in the DC universe if this were something that happened. So yeah, if you guys haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe to the page, and until the next video.